pick jungle on blue side. Hacker does so, and now the response will be whether Leyan wants early jungle priority, because he's already lost Lilia. The Udyr we mentioned, the Nidalee there too. Leyan on a bit of an island, and might have to resort back to some of the A tiers, the B tiers in the jungle pool.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what he goes for now. I actually don't think that Rare Adam really mind playing up against Udyr. Sorry, Olaf. Because Olaf at least is very telegraphed, and what has been giving Rare Adam the most trouble has actually been blue Kayn in the meta. So if you think it was very easy to catch out iBoy with any other champion, then think how easy it would be for Aki to find a kill on blue Kayn. That has been Rare Adam's downfall. I don't think they mind the Olaf as much as the blue Kayn.
Oh god, yeah, please. I love where you mentioned Aki is kind of like a nightmare for Rare Adam's series. Got the Alistar there, though, cementing the bottom lane when you already have the Rell, the Tristana. We know that against Rell, Alistar has been a really good response to deny the engage. So you also get the Azir. You've actually just gone, you know what, FoFo? No, you're not getting this pick. We're going to take it for ourselves.
Ooh, this is really interesting. I like this drafting choice because what typically FoFo would go for here would actually be the Lucian pick, but I don't think he can go for that with AP jungles being taken off the board. He doesn't really have someone to pair it up with in the jungle, and I think he might have to go for... Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is Leyan doing this himself?
He is.
Okay, he is. Okay, so we are going to see probably just a farm it out matchup with something like... I expect Zoe to be one of the big picks here. Coming out from FoFo to counter out this Azir. As we have said, globally the best matchups into Azir have been Zoe and Lucian.
Because then you get a bit of CC, you know, if you ever get that interaction with the 2v2, right? So I think with Leyan, having a Zoe mid will feel really nice. I like that you bring that up, Clement. We'll keep our eyes peeled to see if eStar start banning away some of those key mid laners. Rare Adam, go for the 80 carries, and surely enough, eStar, like, the first pick we think of is that Zoe too.
I'm kind of sad, so it's going to force FoFo into a hard position here. As we said, Rare Adam, this composition is actually pretty slow going right now.
Yeah.
Both the Kayn and Tristana are not going to fight early. So there's a couple different ways you could think about it. The first way is like, hey, okay, we're just not going to contest early. We're going to farm it out, wait for team fights. I think that's a perfectly viable solution. Or the other idea would be, hey, we need something strong early to kind of buster our composition and make sure that we can actually get to strong points in the game. So there's two different directions. I'm not exactly 100% confident which one they will go for right now. I still think they would lean more towards late game and go for power spikes later to match. So I do kind of like this draft a little bit better than trying to buffer for your late game pieces.
You talked about the Corki, the ability to really outman in the side lanes too, to add pressure. Let's see what FoFo does, because there's already so much AD in the composition. Yeah, I do not want to see the Yone.
You can tell that there's an angel and demon just like sitting on his shoulder and going like, hey, we should play early game. And the other side's like, no. Farm. We have Tristana. We can go late.
So you match that scaling you mentioned here for RA already. Tristana, Viktor there. Kayn as well, going to farm up, you know, pretty useless in the early game unless he gets into favorable skirmishes. RA will have to round that one out. We still don't have a front line for the engage that's kind of been set up with the Rell. I'll talk about that in a second. Walk me through eStar, because you have the Gnar. You have a very easy composition to execute so far.
Yeah, I think eStar's comp is very standard in that it's just about late game, it's about big team fighting. You already have great frontlining in Mega Gnar, Alistar plus Olaf, and you have good scaling in the Azir as well. This AD pick, to be honest, doesn't really matter either way. I think the Lucian pick is just something that A, can wave clear when they are doing lane swaps, and B, actually has a bit more survivability against something of the blue Kayn. So I don't think the AD actually matters here much, but eStars is going front to back team fighting. That's kind of to be expected. And I think Rare Adam, right now, it's pretty difficult for them to decide where they want to go with the draft. Because what we have seen in the LPL is if someone picks Azir, you cannot team fight them, period.
Yeah.
They will win that team fight. It's too difficult to contest Azir, because he has the longest range, the best crowd control, and the most DPS for a control mage. I think that champion's actually just way too overloaded and has always been overloaded. So Rare Adam have to look for an alternative win condition, and I think what they've came up with so far is the blue Kayn plus Cube in the side lane two-man game. So they will try for a sort of 4-1 strategy, but I don't think it looks that good on paper because Jayce is a pick that's actually it gets ran down by Olaf pretty easily, and I don't think Blue Kayn actually has a great matchup against Olaf either. So by giving over the Azir and teamfight priority to eStars, I kind of feel like Rare Adam put themselves into a hole. I would have wanted to see them actually take the Azir a little bit earlier, given how successful Azir has been in the meta.
That's right, and you're going to Insulator's first game on the eStar side, right? So he's debuting into the LPL for the first time ever. He's been in FPX plays, he's been in the LDL, and he's yet to play until now as a sub for this roster. You're putting him on the Azir, and this will be the grand test, you know, one of the easiest champions, bar the Swoop and Boop Emperor's Divider. I think Swoop and Boop was Dagda's calling. But Clement, you know, with these compositions here, it does feel like eStar have an easy to execute composition. They're not as volatile as Rare Adam. I'm going to be asking you more questions as we go into this. It's good to have you back on the desk, good sir, as always. eStar and RA are going to be gracing your presence, saying thank you to Clement Chu, as our audience should be as well. You know, if there was a gun against your head, you'd be saying it. Pretend there is for now.
That doesn't actually make me feel good, but okay.
Well, no, look,
That's
metaphorical
kind of
gun, Clement. It'll be okay. Don't worry. We'd thank you anyway, because going into this one, things could get messy with a bit of a ticking time bomb here for RA. Can they enhance Q? Can Leyan do his job and get an early upgrade as well? Early evolve, I should say. We're about to go into Summoner's Rift once again here for the LPL. There ain't no LCK on. You got nowhere else to be. Why would you go to watch LCK anyway? That's ridiculous. You're looking at me and saying, Mr. Eriks, LCK, you know, is more five head, savant, big book, all that kind of stuff. We don't read books in here. We burn them. LPL, we burn the books and we play video games. And that's what it's all about. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. I've been left off the chain and people are already saying thank you to Clement, so I appreciate that. Sir, no roaming Alistar like we had for the Spring Festival. No watching over us as, yes, I told you off the chain, and suddenly, first blood with our crowd ready to warm us up.
Hey, you gotta get that Kayn stacking early. I like this move from Rare Adam. Just a straight level 1 dive. I believe that was Tristana going with the W. Her level 1 slow is absolutely ridiculous at 60%, and you can do a lot of level 1 plays with that. So, just taking a look at the summoners right here, something interesting to note that Leyan's actually gonna go for a lane kill focused summoner here in the Electrocute. Typically, we have seen Dark Harvest be the go-to for Blue Kayns, but this time around, I think he's really trying to target out the Gnar in the top side, so going for something that has a little bit more kill threat.
But let's come back to what just happened quickly, because with that first blood going over, it actually went over to iBoy. So, you know, Tristana already a volatile laner. We're looking in the bottom right hand of our screen. It was a ward placed. I think he saw the ward. I'm not too sure if ShiauC actually saw the ward, but he gets caught out anyway.
Oof. Nope, doesn't look like he actually spotted it out. That was good vision blocking coming out from Rare Adam. They placed the ward, and once Alistar backs out, they move in for the kill. So, well done on their part. Sorry, I got an ambulance.
It was obviously for ShiauC, bro. That's all right.
Okay, just taking him to the slaughterhouse. That's where old cows go.
A very real possibility. But I was going to come back to the point, Clement. You know, what changes now? You wanted to see this top side. You wanted to see Leyan get ahead of the game. And with compositionally, it does feel like we are talking about escalating the tempo, especially for those two.
I think what we're seeing is that it's going to be a lot harder for Rat to actually get favorable trades. So the reason they're picking Lucian into the Tristana is you can trade quite heavily with her early on. But with that longsword pickup, I don't really think that's a possibility. And I think you're going to see Rare Adam actually control most of the wave shove in this bottom side. So what I expect out of them is for Leyan to use this rotation to basically just drop a ward for his, not drop a ward, he doesn't have a ward necessarily, but just to make sure that Olaf doesn't find a gank here, make sure that the shove is safe, and then he's gonna head top lane and try to bully out ZS, as they do have the red side counter pick in the Jayce versus the Gnar.
Yeah, because Jayce is so well into this lane. We're just seeing Cube traded exceptionally well there onto ZS. Dodges out of pretty much every ability and sidesteps to throwing the house as well. The wall plays down, but meanwhile on the bottom lane, 2v2 is going to get interrupted by an Olaf. Rat has healed away, but still has his flash to follow suit. It's matched by ShiauC. They want revenge. iBoy locked on down. He's used the rocket jump too far forward, and eStar come a-knocking.
This is why I wanted Leyan to actually set up vision or try to get some information on Olaf in the bottom side, because I feel like with Rare Adam, with their item advantages, they were 100% going to push, and without jungle support, they were just going to die. However, that's not completely on the jungle. I felt like iBoy and Hong had a really weird read of their situation. We have to notice that, first off, eStars did get a very deep level 1 ward into Rare Adam's jungle, so they knew Leyan's pathing, they knew the timers where he was about to head towards the top side, and Rare Adam just kind of jumped into their deaths. That was completely unwarranted, and it was just a play where they just didn't really understand where the jungle was on eStar's side.
And I think iBoy jumped in thinking, oh, he's going to get the reset as ShiauC, not going to be called out. Attractor Repel used a little bit sparingly from Hung, and then re-attracts in the end of the day as well. So response does go over to Hacker after that kill, means the jungler has the extra bit of gold, picks up the Iron Spike Whip, versus the bottom lane in iBoy, who comes back out, and he's still leading in CS, still has a kill under his name as well, but things aren't going to be as easy, considering that now he doesn't have the heal, and his support doesn't have summoners either. Well, we keep looking top. This is getting brawl heavy up here with ZS and Cube.
Yeah, and I do want to mention some of the items that we're seeing out here from Leyan. There's actually been a number of different schools of thoughts for the first back buy on the Kayn. We have seen a lot of tiers into double longswords, and this time around Leyan is going for a more farm-heavy build. This is double boots, boots of lucidity
we got you.
Yeah, the tier 2 boots. Start. So this one is more farm heavy, he's roam heavy, but he does a lot less damage when it comes to incoming ganks, and it doesn't scale as well either. So I think we're going to see a pretty muted time from Leyan. He's probably just going to use this extra speed against the Olaf to keep tracks on Hacker and make sure he can't influence the lanes while he tries to farm up himself.
Which is why I like this deep control ward placed down, and Leyan waiting at the helm. Gets a stack of the orb as well, that's what you want, while Hung is roaming. Teleport into the enemy situation. Welcome to the LPL for Insulator, who has to just swoop and boop out of there, rather shift and glide. Insulator doesn't burn the flash, that's the main thing, but the teleport was almost caught onto.
Yeah, it's a bit of an awkward buy coming out from the Azir. It's actually just a, but ShiauC, great position.
Yeah, ShiauC just made a turnaround play. iBoy kind of buffers that jump. That was weird for all spectators. He just kind of teleported for me, at least. So he'll get out, but only just.
Yeah, that was a bit weird on this side from iBoy. Again, I feel like iBoy is actually playing too aggressive in this lane. With the first kill of the game, I don't think you need to play this way. But anyway, what's done is done, and that's going to give eStars a pretty easy angle into the Infernal Drake.
Yeah, starting off this game with a nice bit of stat padding as well. Insulator coming back to the wave, I believe he was able to push out a little bit before moving down and giving him a bit of priority. So Dragon goes down. We are going to have an ocean or a mountain rift, excuse me, to start the game off. And so far, this game has been about tracking these junglers, right? You know, Leyan, before you mentioned, tracked the Olaf down the bottom side, got orbs, disappeared, and has gone back to farming. So while Leyan knows the Dragon's going down, he's going to make a bit of an invade towards his top side and steal away some camps from Hacker.
Yeah, and this should put a lot of pressure on ZS as well. I think ZS is the main point on the map that eStars likes to play towards. They are a very Herald-heavy team, and they love to get top ganks in going. So I like this response coming in from eStars. You know, the bot lane, the enemy bot lane has back. They have a bit of time, so they're just making sure that, hey, nothing's going to happen to ZS. They're going to come up, set vision already. And with Hacker alongside, Cube is still willing to trade very aggressively.
Flash might have to be burned here. Clement goes into Ragnarok, burns it first. And you know what? Hacker made the attempt, and Cube will trade his own.
Okay, so I was thinking that Rare Adam probably knew where Olaf was on the map. They had a ward in the bottom side, so they knew he wasn't there. But Cube's still playing a little bit too aggressive. I don't think it's ever worth it for trade, for like a 200 HP trade and give up your summoner like that. So, I don't know. I feel like Rare Adam's early game, definitely too aggressive for their own good.
Yeah, and now he's just punished for it. He's dead. I mean, this is what happens. A Cube really not paying the respect, and Hacker gets kill number 2. ZS gets a turret plate too.
Yeah, this is very unnecessary for Rare Adam, and if you think about their team composition, they need this side lane to succeed. They don't really hold a candle against eStars in the late game team fights, so they really need these early skirmishes to be played a bit better, and I just want to see them be a bit more patient. Play towards the side where you have the jungle. Both of these plays where we've seen them actually just giving up flashes was because their jungle wasn't there and they wanted to go aggressive.
Yeah. Mistakes that are made that are really cost them in the end, and As Cullen comes out here, rocket jump to disengage. I think ShiauC right now playing the better support game. Hung tried to get the gank mid, but ShiauC continued being disruptive towards Leyan. Leyan couldn't get the blue buff still before Clement in the top side because he made the roam, spotted out, added pressure before red reset, and I'm not sure if it did again because Leyan is still here while Herald has now been taken by Hacker. This definitely feels like Leyan wants to be ahead of the clock, stealing farm for the trades, but every single time he's being delayed or dismayed.
Absolutely right there, and I have to say, I feel like Leyan actually isn't reading the jungle pathing that well. In overall, Rare Adam has just not been able to keep track of Hacker. Maybe Hacker is doing something really special here and we're not paying attention and noticing it, but it definitely seems like Rare Adam just don't know where this Olaf is going at all. So they've actually wasted a lot of time coming in from both Leyan and all of their side lanes burning flashes when Olaf is actually just in their vicinity. So I think at this point, Rare Adam really need to make better coordinated plays into that top side and try to get Jayce going. If this Jayce lane doesn't work out for them, I don't see them having a good angle back into the game. It's very difficult for them to play later on. They need the poke potential from Cube to make sure they don't have to take this straight on 5v5.
Because I was going to ask you, there's good scaling here on the side of Rare Adam. We didn't get a good chance to talk about how these comps play out, but when you see an Azir, when you see that front to back you're mentioning, and a lot of frontline available for Rat too, it does feel like as we get into this late game, just the way the comps interact is favorable for eStar if they're on an even playing field.
Yeah, the difference here is eStars can just straight on engage because they have frontline where Rare Adam really don't. So whenever they are going into, like, say, an NA RAM, just 10 teams, 10 people in the middle, you should expect eStars to try to Shurima shuffle, try to catch people out with the headbutt pulverized combo, and just go all in. So it's a bit trickier for Rare Adam to play, and whenever it's tricky, you need side lanes to make sure you can still play the map. So that's what we're trying to see in the early game here. A bit of a slow Kayn build, and finally they're going for the top like I want to see.
As ZS is caught out of position, he doesn't have the flash, but he hops over. Nice little crunch. Leyan matches the flash, comes down for the stun. Leyan will survive, picks up the kill, picks up more evolutionary orbs. I believe that'll be towards Red Kayn because he was Mega, but meanwhile, eStar are not trading nothing as they drop the Herald down mid. And Hung, there's the Magnet Storm. iBoy follows up, but he's headbutt pulverized into the air. Culling block, but it's flashed iBoy. One tick away, the Ignite doesn't finish him off. Rat sent away, or rather Hung from ShiauC, but this is an angry Rell. Cled's wife strikes again as he's now on the wrong side of the map, but he's accepting his fate. He wants to die to ShiauC, not go down to Insulator, but here he is. He takes the kill anyway. It'll be a 1-for-1.
Good move by Insulator, coming in just in time to pick up the 300 gold, but as we do see on the map right now, this is completely open for FoFo. He's going to be able to claw back 320 gold for his troubles. And a bit of a lost trade on eStar's side. I like Rare Adam and how aggressive their bot lane is once they saw the jungle and mid lane just show up with the Herald.
But we got to remember that every time it's getting traded off as Leyan, go away. ShiauC pretty much the distractor in this game, and Hacker picks that one up, sets up for the Ocean Soul too. And when we were just talking about comps, I mean, Ocean Soul would be the cherry on the pie on... What do I eat cherries with? Cherry on the sundae, brother. On the banana sundae. You had a cherry on top, and this is what eStar's comp will love. And they're sitting in a good position to start threatening these objectives. Number 3 and number 4 coming up as Clement. This was a 2v2 that really exploded.
Yeah, and as we saw right here, Rat tried to get the last tick of the culling onto Hong by flashing forwards point blank, but that also cost him his life at the end because it was very difficult to actually get out anymore. Good job by Hong to actually block out some of the culling damage for iBoy. Bit of a messy trade there. iBoy nearly went down, but you know, it worked in the end. It was a support for AD carry trade, and they also clawed back 2 turret platings in the mid lane. So overall favorable for Rare Adam.
Yeah, but RA have to still be careful because we got that kill onto the Azir. Insulator picking up his first kill of the LPL. Moves back into the lane, and he was able to absorb some of the turret plating as well with the Herald drop. And Clement, I just want to point this out. I was watching Cagel's stream a couple of nights ago, and he was talking, but he was actually playing the Olaf with Stride Breaker, something we've been seeing a lot more in the recent patches with the Gore Drinker nerfs. we've got one here for Hacker, who was ahead of the game and picks up one of the first mythics.
Yeah, I really like this when, if you're thinking about the compositions, your comp needs a bit more chase rather than the sustain itself. Like, if Hacker can get onto people, then that's enough for them to win the team fight. So Strikebreaker, great pickup here. You get that extra 60% slow when you close in onto targets. It also gap closes you. So I really like the item build in general. And it also helps you actually pick up axes sometimes. If you throw a point blank axe and you Strikebreaker forward, you can instantly pick it up again. So there's some nifty combos that you can do with the Olaf, and it just makes it very oppressive for people like Jayce.
Only going to come out in the bot lane meanwhile, though. Leyan spotted out by a ward, still making the dive a reality. Now, this Kayn, at the moment, just having a look at the angle of the scythe, because in this skin that tells whether he's evolved, and he has not. 14 minutes in the game, still no evolution there, but he does have the Prowler's Claw, so some good gap close now available even more so. Really good ability haste so far in this game, and he has a late addition with the tier that you talked about being the first back instead of those boots that we saw instead.
Yeah, sometimes we do see tiers picked up pretty early if you are going for an early evolution. This game, I think Leyan was just trying to track Olaf for most of the pre-6, so he actually went for Boots of Lucidity beforehand, and we kind of knew how that result went. It didn't go very well for Leyan. I still feel like his side lanes kind of blundered, or their read on Olaf or Hacker wasn't very good. So this is a bit of a delayed tier and a very delayed transformation coming in from Leyan. Not exactly where you want to be on the Kayn pick.
No, you already talked about it, you know, with Cube involved as well. It feels like these two players have not really gotten off the ground in this game. Sure, there's a 10 CS lead, but Hacker has picked up every objective so far. Herald number 2 spawns, and he's on it immediately with ShiauC mirroring his jungler. Leyan over to the side, but there are more members available for eStar if a turn comes about.
Yeah, I don't see Rell really contesting this. Instead, they're trying to take the bot lane tower. This is a play that in the LPL, I think a lot more teams are waking up to and saying, you know what? We are not contractually obliged to go into the 10-man Herald, and a lot of times we can actually get more on the map if we stay in our own lanes. This has been a long time coming, but I love this adaptation from the LPL. I think it's always better to avoid 5v5s that you know you can't really win and they're too far behind in priority. Now, if Rare Item can just defend against this Herald, I think they are in a fine position right here.
You're right, 2,000 gold lead, right? Getting first turret blood over to their carry, and Cube, meanwhile, still bullying out. Knowing that the rest of the team's not nearby, hits the shock blast. Cube wants a solo kill. He flashes, waits for it from ZS. The electricity surges, and Cube solo kills to survive the minions. Needs to just dodge from the bullets. The minion's still hitting him. Cube! And the minion! That minion's MVP!
He didn't see the minion! Oh my god! That is so painful! If he saw the minion, he has Omnivamp. He would have survived there.
All he had to do was auto-clev it, but he stands there. And that minion, man, that's a promotion, bro. New champion alert. Oh my god.
That minion is a super minion. He should be driving a cannon right now. You know, it's definitely a free upgrade. Biggest fan of eStar so far.
Holy crap, this is the best interaction I've seen so far. We're not stopping though as Leyan's caught out, flashes away from the culling. Hacker using that gap close nice with the stride breaker, and they've just forced out so much from Leyan before this dragon's ready to be taken.
And this is the play you're going to see again and again. We talked about it earlier. Because eStars have the better front line, whenever they see Rare Item, this is what they're going to do. They're actually just going to bum rush them and try to make sure that they can't get poked down before the team fights. Now, this is going to be the third strike. Extremely crucial as eStars will move into Soul Point, and I love the position ShiauC is in right now. Hex Flash over the wall will be extremely devastating for Rare Item.
A lot of damage going down on the rat, though. The poke is meaningful here for RA. Can they get into the pit? Still at the ready. Leyan jumps in and takes it. Mine, he says, is now the engage at eStar. They're split up on multiple fronts. A disengage attempt is sent away. iBoy does exactly the same. ZS, his ulti's still there. He runs on in. iBoy jumps, though. And now for ZS on a bit of an island. Slowed on down. Hacker's low on the back line as well. And Cube's poke is so meaningful. Leyan waiting for the assassination and Insulator, just dodging away from the shock blast combo. Dragon stolen, and for RA, now they take away that soul point.
That was a bit anticlimactic coming out from
ShiauC.
ShiauC. I felt like his angle of attack was kind of just nowhere because he went straight into the enemy team but wasn't in range for WQ combo and just kind of died. So he didn't really prevent the Kayn from stealing the Drake, and I would have liked it a lot more if he tried to go over the blue wall and to cut off Rare Adam. But his angle of attack was, I'd call that ham-fisted.
Yeah, I can tell you're not very happy. I know we're going to have another look again, Clement. I'll savor it for them, but what's important to note is that RA, you know, after the fight, getting the pick as well, getting the trade-off, or rather a better trade-off from their angle, a 3,000 gold ahead. And I think in this early game, we've talked a lot about the advantages hackers accrued, but here, finally, Leyan gets his first objective, and you talked about it, ShiauC in a really bad position.
Yeah, I don't think ShiauC actually used the element of surprise well, and I think that if he just cut off the enemy team, it would have been a little bit better. Of course, ZS goes in, but if you look at his backline, no one can actually follow up. Gravity Field is in between them, and they lose the Drake plus the mid lane tower. So, you know, a bit of a team fight throw coming out from eStars. I felt like they definitely could have came out better in that one.
We come back, and now timer on Dragon again, as usual. We expect to see the Baron in 5 seconds as well, ladies and gentlemen, spawn onto the Rift. And we've changed lanes a little bit, Clement. We saw the turrets going down towards mid, towards bot before. Top still standing there, but side lane priorities, we're shifting to see Insulator actually shoving up the top side, and Cube still matching eStar's top laner ZS, while the rest of the team just hovering around this Baron and trying to isolate for a bit of a pick.
I don't really think eStars is going to be able to find anything here, but
you're right. I mean, ShiauC looked for Hung and nothing was there. Chaos Storm was pulled out from FoFo. It's on the hunt, but finds absolutely nothing in the end. And there you go, dissolved immediately while everyone just reset.
Yeah, it's very difficult to actually fight up the ramp, and I don't really like the idea from eStars to be chasing over ramps against a Viktor. I feel like that's just asking for trouble. And I feel like eStars right now, they can just savor the farm. They can sit back and they can relax. They know they have an Azir. They know they have the better front line. You don't really have to push it this hard. And I would be happy just keeping vision and keeping my top lane tower alive at this point.
Because Azir right now feeling safe with the line of control wards placed down, while iBoy's found a pick onto ShiauC. Waiting for the rocket jump, needs that explosive charge to pop off. And ShiauC now using the Unbreakable Will. iBoy, you can see, with 2 items doing quite a lot of damage, so I like that they're trying to punish eStar for getting antsy.
Yeah, just relax, eStars. With 3K
yeah, I can tell you're not happy
nothing.
with how eStars are playing off the start of this mid-game.
Yeah, because they actually waste a lot of their warding potential. That was a full back rotation, double pink wards being taken out in the top lane, and those cost gold.
Yeah.
Like, pink wards are actually not free. So if you try to put them in places where you can't defend, what often ends up happening is you lose that gold. The enemy gets chances to pick you off in a non-team fight situation and force out ability cooldowns, and they also strip your top lane. So I don't understand why eStars was trying to go that aggressive onto the map at that point. I just feel like there's no real reason to do so, and Rare Adam are able to punish them quite nicely.
And we're 22 minutes into the game. I was just going to also point out that for Rare Adam, you know, the one thing that they could really benefit off right now is seeing Leyan's evolve. Now, we haven't tuned into him for quite a while, but I believe because he was brawling with Hacker a lot of the fights, ZS as well in the Mega Gnar form, that he was getting a lot of these red orbs, Clement. I think still waiting for the blue evolve. Oh, there it is. He finally got it.
Yeah, even if he's going to get purely red orbs, he's definitely going to go blue Kayn.
Oh, yeah. So, still had to wait, Riders. Oh my god, ShiauC just gets exploded up. This is a lot of burst damage on the side of RA, and once again, Unbreakable Will is pulled out.
Yeah, so eStars, they're getting super angsty right here, and their angles of attack are a little bit questionable. With Unbreakable Will down, there's no hope that they can actually get this Drake. What I think they should have been willing to do is to actually just walk through the other ramps here, or go through blue or go through bottom side. Like right now, Rare Adam are controlling River because they have that shove into the bottom side, and ShiauC is now dead.
Yeah, look, he didn't have Unbreakable. Who knew that? And he thought, Flash will save me from a Kayn. Yeah. Well, let me tell you one thing. He learnt the hard way. So ShiauC goes down. Dragon went over, you saw before, and RA are waiting. Here comes Poke yet again. eStar's like, we don't care. And RA can just threaten the Baron here, Clement. Let's go. They do this quick.
They do have a very good full damage team, and Hacker doesn't have a way to approach this one. It's going to be hard for half HP Olaf to actually get into the pit. He is going to try from the back, though, as he does have Flash.
No Mega Gnar bar, but ZS stacking up pretty quickly. Half health by FoFo, who's been a quiet achiever here in this game. They pull away, but no harm, no foul, apart from the mid lane, unless Rat can find anything here from the bit of tempo that's played. Inner turret now threatened down, and this should actually be dropping, so you'll take it where you can for eStar to get a bit more gold back into these carries. Or at least close to, because turret doesn't go down.
Yep. Rare Item will try to find a pick here. Now this is when I think with the blue Kayn complete, eStars do have to be a bit more careful in the side lanes. We have seen a lot of great two-man games coming out from blue Kayns. His damage against Gnar is very considerable. Okay. So I do expect that for that to be Rare Item to where they kind of focus right now.
Oh dear God, please somebody save ShiauC. Unbreakable Will this time is up, trample it already, but Leyan kites his way back while iBoy's joined the fray. They're so deep into enemy territory. Teleport on the spot, but low health bars. Insulator's first ulti here, but now he has to flash away. In comes Cube, and eStar, you had everything here. You had the slow-paced game. You ran into enemies' trouble. And making it double is iBoy. He's one hit away. ZS into Mega soon, but it's way too late. 5 alive, and RA back to the Baron again.
Kind of a puzzling play from Insulator. He goes over the wall and has to flash out immediately. No follow-up damage done after that Emperor's Divide. And we talked about eStars having the better front line, but what essentially happened there was eStars allowed their front line to basically go down before the fight even happened. And then Rare Item was able to just pick the pieces up and clean it up very, very nicely. So I think eStar's not willing to play slower and to just defend their silence and scale up. So it's a bit puzzling here. I don't think they realize their win conditions, and they're sort of contesting when they don't really need to be, as we see the Unbreakable Will being forced out by ShiauC again. Watch Insulator actually expend a teleport to get into this fight, so another huge summer use, and he flashes right out. Just a bit questionable here. I don't think the communication was on point, and it's a bit of a shame to really see eStars with a strong composition like this, and with iBoy trying to throw the game as hard as possible, and still coming at this point.
Clement, I don't think I've heard you mold this hard in a long time. Like, I can hear it in your voice. You're quite upset. And
I used to be a coach, and if I seen this game, if this was my team, I'd be so upset.
Yeah, no, it's alright. Well, look, Clement, we've got the Baron for RA. It's 26 minutes in the game. Gold is now 6,000, and this is definitely going to favor them, you know, for the next 10, 15, even 20 minutes. If the game goes that long at this pace, how do you want to see this played out? How do you set the lanes up? Because iBoy right now solo pushing while it's a 3-man setup mid.
Yeah, so eStars right now, they have a huge problem in that their engage really isn't adequate. They're more of an objective fighting team where they want to show up on the objective first. So this team doesn't really build a lot of initiation. They're not a skirmish-oriented team. I think right now, they probably just have to sit back and take it for this 1 minute. Make sure that, you know, if they take 1 tower or 2 towers, it's fine. Don't get too worried about it. You are 7k behind, but this is definitely a composition that can come back. And just try to find Leyan or iBoy out like they're doing right now.
Like this. I mean, the ult doesn't connect, but they get the shutdown. Leyan dying is big, but Insulator goes too far forward. And that means
I like this idea. What eStars has done is they folded all 5 members into the same locale, and they're looking for picks.
And over the wall, the Hex Flash comes in dividends. Cube can't get out of this. Trample takes him, and 2 kills. Means eStar not going to worry too much more about this Baron play.
This is a great comeback. Rare Item not being aware of the situation. I can't believe after Leyan got killed right over the wall, they still stood around and handed over the second kill. But iBoy might be able to equalize this.
Let's see. FoFo doesn't follow the chase. ShiauC now going for deep vision. Dragon's up, and Hacker will be able to heal up the remainder on this anyway. So over to Soul Point. The game's still in contention for eStar somehow, some way. With RA kind of showing us what they've shown us in the last couple of series. If people haven't tuned in, you know, RA get antsy on the trigger as well. And I think the biggest thing is their mid-game play, Clement, has been, you know, some of the biggest issues. Like decision-making process has not been clean for RA by any means.
Yeah, Rare Atom, like we said, this is a team that is surprisingly at 5th place in the LPL. But, you know, a lot of people still have a lot of doubts because they haven't actually faced the top 3 teams in the LPL, and they haven't faced IG. So, realistically, I think they're going to end up around at 9 wins. And that puts them in the middle of the pack. But iBoy is getting collapsed upon. It should be perfectly safe here. I like what eStars did to defend there. They were saying, hey, you know what? Top lane tower, we can give this to you. We're not going to be able to defend with Baron buff in 3 lanes anyway. So we're just going to fold our composition together and find picks against Rare Atom.
Like this, right? ZS, Rat behind. ZS just almost solo killing Mega Gnar coming up. He won't get healing from that, and he takes him down. It wasn't a solo kill in the end. Rat hits a bit of the culling, and you know what? Rare Atom taketh, and Rare Atom also giveth away, Clement. Yes. Yes. Very interesting game. Very interesting game. Macro
not exactly where I would like it to be, if I'm being completely honest. You can probably tell by now, but this is kind of on par with most Rare Atom games. I think their series against TT and OMG also saw them throwing pretty big leads in the middle game. Typically from Leyan and iBoy. Those are your usual culprits in situations like this. It's definitely something that I feel like holds Rare Atom back quite a bit, in that when they are actually leading, they very, very rarely have games where they snowball from start to finish. There typically is some sort of a mid-game fiesta.
What?
But that was also really nice.
That was an explosion. I mean, look, ShiauC at this point, you know, an Alistar with Shirelias ain't the tankiest of cows. Kind of like your sirloin, right? Tender meat that you have to take care of.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate that he still had Unbreakable Will and Flash and still died there. So,
yep.
I think he's just reading that, hey, if I die here, there's no objectives up, so you know what? I'll go into the fountain. I'll respawn. Whatever.
This is a game, isn't it? I mean, this is really just... When people say quality League of Legends, this is obviously what they mean. From here, look, let's bring it back on par and see if the players can do the same thing. There is 40 seconds until Baron, so ShiauC getting picked off there won't mean the end of the world, but we need to start talking about like what this Baron's going to look like, right? Because we yet to see the full-on engage from Insulator, set up the carries like Rat, like Hacker and ZS in the front line, the Mega Gnar. We're onto 3-item territory for pretty much everyone here. 4 items for iBoy. I'm looking across the board. He's actually one of the strongest members on Summoner's Rift right now, sitting at 330 CS at 31 minutes. So who do you favor and how do you want to see the setups come through?
Well, I think eStars should be the one that are looking for the engages very aggressively. If you look at their frontline items right now, it's actually ridiculous how much armor they have in that front line. Double Randuin's coming out. They have a lot of slow potential. So they could definitely chase people down. And what I want to see is them trying to take control of left side river, but Rare Atom group together and try to check. You just run at them. So that minimizes the amount of poke damage you're going to take. That just makes sure your backline is also safe. And for Rare Atom's side, I think they should be targeting out this Azir. If you notice the Azir build, it is not set up to deal with Jayce or Kayn.
This was a really bad back timer. This is really bad. Yeah. Can Olaf get in? Hacker, no. ShiauC was backing away, or at least pulling back. And eStar just really mismanaged the setup, Clement.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they retreated from the left side of River. I feel like even with the gold deficit, they should be holding on to that area. They left it completely open. And I don't know why, because the Drake is still 40 seconds away. You don't really need to set up for that Drake that early. They just underestimated how quickly Rare Atom could take that.
Sorry for the giggle, folks. This game is pretty bloody ridiculous. Like, man, I haven't had one of these for a while, but I will say the last one did involve eStar, so I think we're right on track for their brand this split. In the LPL, like, I have a huge discussion that maybe has to wait for another time. eStar, TT, OMG, these teams at the bottom, LGD to 1 point. Rogue Warriors especially. Right now, the bottom of our pack is looking so separated as they do find a pick onto iBoy, but ShiauC, without his team, culling is getting blocked by FoFo. Hung disengaged, but ZS going into Mega Gnar against the wall. It's a 2-man with Insulator. Hit him in the corridor, but look at the DPS. Leyan's into the back line. They haven't killed iBoy or Cube. Insulator 1 hit away. The cow runs in because he ate a bad burger. And RA aced them clean, and they're the ones who got Baron before.
Yeah, this might be a really quick finish to the game right here, as there's still 40 seconds onto Insulator. Rare Adam definitely have this one in the back.
Well, that was something nice to watch from RA, but eStar, Jesus Christ, Lemon Chew, what a start to the day. You want to watch LCK? No, you're here for this, and this is what we live for. RA with a, I'm going to say it, clean win. God, I'm sorry. God.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny game, a topsy-turvy one. eStars actually had themselves in a very good position. They were up 2 Drakes, I believe, to 0, and they had double Heralds as well. So they were setting themselves up for an extremely strong objective position on the map. If you think about that lead, it just boggles my mind. Double Heralds, double Drake lead. This mid-game should be a perfect golden opportunity for them to just sort of snowball the game. But I think they over-index into skirmishes, and we saw ShiauC caught out 3 times in a row. Every time he had to break a breakable will, they went for jungle skirmish, river skirmish, and I just don't think it was necessary. I feel like if you're sitting on such a strong objective lead, what you should do is you just say, you know what, we're going to disregard all other aspects of the map. We are going to show up on time for Drakes, and that's it. We're just going to snowball this single point on the map.
With the vision line set up as well, right? Like for eStar, you were mentioning in game, so rightly so, that river vision line was controlled. Insulator sitting in a side lane farming up. There was really no threat around the Baron buff and keeping those sideways pushed out. But then, forcing these engages, pulling the trigger when they don't have to. You already talked about the scaling advantage they have with the front to back, and the Azir, and it blows my mind that for eStar, they just kind of threw it all at Rare Adam's face when they didn't really have to. So, of course, RA, when they have a Jayce, a Tristana, right? Like, these explosive damage sources that don't mind if ShiauC's separated from his team and there's no follow-up.
Yeah, I really want to see how ShiauC will fare in a more defensive and slower gameplay. Like, ShiauC, we have seen great highlights from him. He's a really good pick support. But in this game, I feel like his habits got the better side of him instead of what the game state should have offered. I think he should have played a lot slower. Like, ShiauC definitely made a ton of mistakes in the mid game. And that Baron play where he just backed on the ward was also a little bit disappointing to see. So, I think this is just a switch of mentality for eStars. They are a team that likes to play for early Herald. They are very skirmish focused. They like early action into the top side. As we've seen from Hacker Stats, he actually has one of the highest kills at 15 minutes. So a very bloody early game team. And I think this is just the habits of the team overtaking their frontal cortex, basically.
Because the decision-making past the early game was just not on. And eStar, first couple of objectives. Hacker had the kill lead as well. Hacker was in a great position, and I think he set up eStars from that early game, but again, not on the same wavelengths. Trigger pulled too early. Everything went downhill from there, and RA kept getting resources, kept getting some of these free later objectives, like the second Baron. And, this is, again, why I was criticizing the bottom teams in our league are just not up to par with even the middling, right? RA right now on a 5-win streak, but yeah, sorry, go on.
This was a bit of a macro win for Rare Adam. If you think about the early game, it was actually pretty tragic. They lost double Heralds, double Drakes. Both of their side lanes were killed and burned summoners. And this was a 14-minute blue Kayn. So the early game was about as bad as you could possibly get for Rare Adam's side. And this just shows you that even if you have a sizable lead in the early game, I still feel like 5v5 teamfight compositions need to learn how to chill, not be too over-aggressive against skirmish team comps, and just play things naturally. Just chill and just do Drake stack. There's not any real reason for you to rush things when you have such a good early game.
Yeah, don't just pull the trigger when you don't need to. I think biggest takeaway here is that eStar, flop the comp, and game 1 goes out of RA. We're going to have a bit of a break, going to reset. Hopefully, I'm going to bring my compassion back for game number 2 in this so